All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome here to Tal'Darim Altar, and it's my pleasure to introduce the second contestant from Team Eclypsia, hoping to bring down d.Bischu and prevent another horrendous all-kill by the Dignitas player. It is Eclypsia Kenzie. He is in the green trunks, and he is playing Zerg to the northeast of Tal'Darim versus his opponent on one of his favorite maps of all time. It is Dignitas d.Bischu, currently taking one scalp in this best-of-9 series. He is in the yellow trunks. He is playing Protoss to the southeast.
Well, that's right, and this is a curious choice out of Kenzie as well. We've seen a lot of Zerg players recently when they've chosen this map, especially in the current metagame, that have decided to go for really strong Mew to play, because it is so difficult to try and take your third as a Zerg. Your natural's accessible, it's right there, but your third, you either take the one that's a little bit closer to you, but you have to go through destructible rocks, preventing you from taking it very early on, or you take the one farther south, which presents a lot of problems of cutting off your bases.
Yeah, it's a real problem in these positions as well. You can do it maybe in far cross, but here you're expanding towards the Protoss player, which it just gives you so many opportunities for harassment. It's silly. It can lend very well, as you accurately pointed out, to a two-base Mew to play. Gateway expand again from d.Bischu. This time, of course, can't really put it on a higher ground because there isn't a higher ground to put it on. We've got a pull first here from Kenzie, an interesting choice. Of course, used to pretty much be the standard in this matchup. But we've got a lot of players now that will actually go for the hatch first against Toss and can pull it off successfully. But wow, we're even going to see gas before hatch as well.
That's right. So this is a very curious opening. It looks like obviously Kenzie was watching Elvis go down in game number 1.
Oh yeah, don't get too greedy.
Yeah, he saw what happened, knew the Gateway Expand was out there, and is going to have his own little spin on it to try and compensate for that fact. We'll see if d.Bischu wants to go ahead and block this natural. Looks like he will for just a bit, but I'm curious what Kenzie's follow-up is going to be. Obviously speedlings for now, but are we going to see that quick Mew to play? Does he go to quick and festers? He's got a lot of options from here on out.
d.Bischu going for the block down here first. He's seen the pull first. So he's got some things on his mind. Like, this is a very specific build. This is not just your straight-up economic greed. Getting the pull first and then the gas means that you are going to do something. It is most likely going to either be tech-oriented or it's going to end up being aggressive. And the problem with Gateway Expand sometimes is that it can be bustable with Roach, for instance.
Yes.
You can go for this big Stefano-style Roach ball and you can roll over your opponent. And he's trying to delay that as much as possible by putting the pylon down. And this has forced 4 links out, which is a nice start. It means that, once again, it keeps Kenzie honest. Kenzie can't get ridiculously greedy. We've already got 2 Zealots now moving in. This is actually going to be a bit of a problem here for Kenzie because he's rushed these 2 Zealots out, moved in. It can actually stop the expand from happening for a while. It's going to force out a ton of lings.
That's right, and Kenzie's resources just keep climbing up over and over, even with putting down a second queen and a few more Zerglings right now. It's just not enough, and the shields are starting to recharge on that pylon.
Gotta love being Protoss, man. That's one of the big edges. We've got a Spine Crawler coming down, but I'll tell you what, d.Bischu, I don't think he's even all that interested in going into the main. He shouldn't be at this point. Going into the main, it serves no practical purpose. Poke away. If he can force a cancel out Spine, that's going to be great for him. But just stop your opponent from taking his natural and force a ton of lings out. Just make sure you're ready for the counterattack. That's the real risk.
A couple of curious things going down for both our players right now. Of course, Kenzie wishes he could be spending this entire time droning up, but he just can't. d.Bischu, on the other hand, did decide to get a Forge next to fall. Of course, this is a little bit wider ramp, and he needs the cannon back at home, but could decide to offensively cannon later on just because of the fact that this second hatchery is so late.
He really could, and he's got to put that Forge and cannon down because there's just such a ridiculous opportunity for counterattack in this build. This is not done all that often because if it gets shut down, then the run-by comes in, the big counter-attack, and you can just die right there as a toss. It's really unpleasant. We're actually seeing one base layer here coming in from Kenzie, which is incredibly curious. It can't be Mutalisk play. You just can't do it on one base. You don't have enough gas. We could just see a big Roach bust here.
Well, if this were Root Cats playing, I suppose we could see that, but it's not, and I've never seen anyone else try and pull that off in pro play. But we'll see how Kenzie wants to follow this up. He's already started that crease thread. He wants to slowly walk this position forward to the natural, so he can actually try and get something down. d.Bischu, on the other hand, has been droning up free back at home, up by 7 workers. Well-developed economy, well-developed defenses as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, this is where the clean-out comes. The speed came down. It's actually surprisingly late, considering he got that gas so early on there. Obviously distracted, and having to pump out a ton more links definitely didn't help. I imagine, I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I imagine he also had a lot of drones on minerals and not in gas.
Yeah.
But now, of course, he knows I have got to mine as much gas. Got Nidus play.
Oh,
now,
okay.
Okay, one base Nidus. Doable, certainly. And we've got the Overlord now moving into position. Will Bischu pick up on this? It is a logical thing to have happen. This has got to be going through Bischu's mind here. It has happened before. I've seen this build done. It's not common, but sometimes you have to do it. If some funky stuff happens that delays your natural for so long, Nidus is often the equalizer.
It is kind of a...
He's looking for it. He knows it.
It's a last gasp for Zerg players that have been forced into this position. Bischu did such a good job of effectively blocking that hatchery for so long that it's forced his opponent's hands. And here comes Kenzie now. Where is he going to drop down that Nidus network? He's got an Overseer in a position. He's got an Overlord in position. But where is it going to pop up? There it is.
Right next to the pylon there. He can actually pull enough probes here to kill this. That's exactly what he's going to do. This is why Nidus is bad, because generally you can kill the worm before it. But look at the positioning of it. Actually, the pylon is preventing that from going down. He needs to get this around on that immediately. Got to go down, and he does so nicely. And Zerg players the world over are screaming their heads off in frustration. Why is it that probes can kill a Nidus worm? Well, there you go. And now there is the opportunity, of course, for a second Nidus, but there are sentries ready. I don't think he's spotted the Overseer, but he's ready. Oh, he has seen it. Yeah, he knows it. And, well, Kenzie's now really fighting from behind here. His gambit did not pay off.
No, not at all. So what does Kenzie do from here on out? He has a second base just finished up.
Spire beginning.
He's gone over to Spire, yeah.
That's going to be a real problem for him because he takes his third and fourth gas so late, even with the crazy build time of the Spire.
Right.
He's not going to be able to deploy a lot of Mutalisk.
Well, and he certainly spent a lot of gas just trying to get up the Nidus network, just trying to get up that additional Nidus worm as well. It was 150 loss, and he's going to try it again, but he did just unload everything out of the Nidus worm. He's
going back in. It's okay
at the moment. All right, well, here comes Bischu. Has he picked up on it? Yes, he has.
If he has, he's not responding fast enough. He can force field everything in there, and that's probably what he needs to do. His force field is going to be really, really good. Oh, dear. That's a terrible place to pump all your lings out into. They will escape, of course, eventually. The DPS of sentries is absolutely awful. Couple of lings get through. That's potentially disastrous here for Bischu. Doesn't want to have that happen. Nice surround right there by Kenzie.
Yeah, very well done. A few zealots are being sent in now to go ahead and help, but they do not have +1 attacks, which means it takes 3 swings to go through any of these Zerglings here. Oh my god, here comes the flood of Zerglings. A lot of probes are being pulled off the line right now.
Oh wow, I'm very surprised that he was able to pull this off. Honestly, Bischu with a very slow response to that, even having seen it, and now he's getting absolutely good as a direct result of that. Changeling coming in for the party. Nice force field play just to delay that going down, but without that +1, he's just getting murdered.
Yes, he is. Now a couple of pylons go down, and Bischu will be able to reinforce with just nothing. He's already lost 23 workers. He's sitting at 23 to his opponent's 27. He's attempting to counterattack right now, though. Are there any units coming up from Kenzie? Just a handful of links, but they were all being rallied into the Nidus network.
Yeah, he's going to have to sack his main at this point, try and hold his natural, and then go for a base trade. And if the +1 kicks in with only lings available, he could do it. The problem is he's taking so much damage before +1 comes in. This is a really nasty timing here. Those gateways are about to go down as well. And can he say? I think he probably can save it without. He's going to take a lot of losses doing it, but maybe he can hold that natural and start to rebuild.
That's right. And now +1 has finished up, and he was able to put on a little pressure onto his opponent's base as well. A couple more zealots are still trying to chase down this queen. One of those actually critically injured. Now finally starting to recover some of the shields. But the Nidus network needs to pop out a couple of additional units. Another queen is going to go down. It looks like he's a little more concerned with just taking out this Nexus in return.
Well, to be honest, if I were Bischu right now, I'd be saying have the Nexus. Have it. Just keep your natural alive and continue to pile on the pressure with +1. He's got nothing but unupgraded links. He has a Spire, he can't do anything with it. So let's see what we can do from that position. But he's actually going to get the cleanup here. Does cost him a lot of mining time and units, but he was able to resecure here. More links still just being an absolute pain in his main.
That's right, but Bischu has continued to do a little bit of damage to his opponent as well. This Helot actually has 9 kills on it before it finally goes down.
Hell +1's now up, so that really helps him there. And
that's right.
He's prevented mining from the natural as well, so that kind of equalizes things out.
All right, well, this pylon is going to fall, but most of the lings are going to go down in response as well. Looks like he's trying to come back with yet another Nidus worm, but he should be able to react very quickly to that, and does. This Nidus worm is not going to get up.
Yeah, that's going down. No problem at all, he realizes. And I think the Nidus play is a bit passe at this point. d.Bischu should be able to shut that down. And now we're going to see not one, but two Mutalisks coming out. With yeah, this is a very famous build here called the 2 Muta play. And basically what it does is it tickles, and if you have to particularly ticklish, it's very, very dangerous. Unfortunately, against any other player, it's not so good. And because he's not been able to mine for his natural for so long, he's really limited the number of mutas he can get, and apparently hasn't noticed there's 2 sentries lying around.
That's right. This play could force Bischu to repeatedly say, stop that. It tickles. But the Zerglings trying to dance away now. They were taking out the destructible rocks, but that's not going to be an option any longer for Kenzie as more units are continuing to get warped in. Now there's not a lot of anti-air here. These sentries may end up winning the actual tickle war. Their tickle beams not going to be able to DPS down the mutas all that quickly. Good control from Kenzie to pull those units away. And now, all of a sudden, these zealots are forfeit up at the front.
Indeed. Well, that's the nice thing about getting the mutas out at this point. It just means that these zealots are essentially useless. Stargate coming out from Bischu, an interesting decision rather than to go straight into more Stalkers. And more often than not, it's very easy to overwhelm Stalkers. And that's why Muta play is just so good in the ZVP matchup. But a few Stalkers here would have actually helped with the cleanup. Going for the Stargate is interesting, though.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a huge resource commitment now, depending on how he wants to use this. But Bischu has more or less stabilized on 2 bases. He's continuing to chrono boost out probes as quickly as possible, sitting on even workers with his opponent at the moment. But of course, he won't be able to put any further pressure on this third until it's at the very least started.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how this one ends up turning out. It will maybe keep him in his base. The thing is that there isn't a large enough count for that to really happen. Phoenixes are now coming out to support the Stalkers and Sentries on the ground as well. Those Mutalisks are not upgraded. He is now starting to get a reasonable count, but that count has been very much delayed by the lack of mining on the natural here. If he can pick up the third and mine up from 6 gases, then he can get a scary number, certainly.
All right, well, the Mutals are going to swing in now. It looks like the active creep tumor was unfortunately stopped, but this still does prevent a lot of area here from Bischu being able to put down any structures or anything like that. Just the sheer presence of the Mutas is enough to pull Bischu's units off the line for significant lengths of time, however. It's
nice as well because the creep's going to give him that vision inside the base, which is fantastic, and it gives the Mutas a lot more survivability as a direct result of that. A single Phoenix is very, very brave for engaging there, but without the crazy crystal upgrade that no one ever sees because it's awful, it's going to be difficult to deal with this.
Yeah, for some reason, Doe and I go nuts every time we see Anti-Impulse Crystal now in any game, so because it's such a rarity.
Yeah, it's about as common as Caduceus Reactor. Possibly.
Yes.
Yeah, that should say a lot about both of the upgrades. But nice little engagement here for Kenzie to pick up a few sentries, but he did lose a lot of mutas in the process, and I just feel that Bischu could afford to lose their sentries more than Kenzie could afford to lose his mutas. This is the only thing keeping it in, and we're actually going to see Pulse Crystals by the looks of it, because here's the Fleet Beacon.
All right. Well, I'm ready for it. Anti-Impulse Crystals, let's do this. The Mutalist, ooh, very nice job. The Mutalist to double back there, pick off the Phoenixes. We'll see if Bischu is going to produce any additional Stargates now, commit to that airplay, because it does look like Kenzie is heading down that route. He still does have 12 mutas up, another 2 just about to finish as well with +1 upgrade. So kind of what we hinted at, although we didn't assume it would take 18 minutes to get here, was that we would see strong Muta play out of our Zerg player at the beginning.
Here it is. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen.
Anti-Impulse Crystal!
Yes, it's so incredibly rare and for very good reason. But for Muta only play in this weird situation, yes, it's a reasonable thing to do. It's a shame he couldn't keep those Phoenixes alive. Thankfully, replenishing a Phoenix count is not all that difficult.
Right.
And I have to wonder what we're going to see here from Kenzie, because he can't stay on this with Pulse Crystals out. And the problem is he's got no other real option. What does he transition it into here? He's got some real tech problems.
Right. At the very least, what he has going for him is a solid 3-base economy. He's moving to his 4th base as well, but I don't detect the hint of an infestation pit yet. No. So Hive Tech is not going to be a threat for a while.
Coming on, actually. So he might actually try and fight this air-to-air. And it kind of makes sense, because what else has he got? He does have the +1 upgrade advantage, which is nice there. The Pulse Crystals will give him the range, now actually getting a Roach Warren down as well to stabilize that ground army. I'm intrigued to see how this goes.
All right. Well, unfortunately, the Phoenixes are a little bit out of position, and the Mutalisks with the +1 upgrades are able to come in and DPS down a couple of those Stalkers. Well done there. But now the 6-range Phoenixes show up, and 6-range Phoenixes are death and destruction for a large pack of Mutas.
Very, very micro-intensive for both players here to try and engage here. The main problem that Bischu's going to have is going to be going against Corruptors. Phoenixes' DPS against Corruptors is absolutely dreadful, regardless of the fact that they do have some range there. And The problem is Bischu isn't even controlling them that well, which is proven to be really problematic. He's losing Phoenixes where he shouldn't be, and we've got a nice little warp in there to start to harass that 4th base. That will help. That may pull the Mutalisks back, maybe, but it looks like those Lings are going to do the job instead.
Yeah, it looks like Lings and Mutas starting to head home now. Of course, all of these ground units are still 1+1 upgrades, so Zealots can dispatch of buildings pretty efficiently, and this hatchery is very close to going down. 200, 100, and dead.
There it is, ladies and gents, and a nice little pickup there by Bischu. Totally worth the investment. As far as I'm concerned, the last thing he wants is Kenzie's economy to run out of control now when he's stuck on 2 bases. And the Phoenix count starting to get dangerous, certainly. It's very odd to see that Kenzie just sticks to the Mutalisk play from here, feeling that the addition of a couple of Corruptors might give him the edge in this fight.
That's right, so he's going to see if that's going to be enough. Oh, we do notice, though, despite the fact that he's only made Lings and Mutas up to this point, he is starting his Roach upgrades.
Indeed.
Roach speed is on the way now, and he's going to need that firepower against this ground army. Now, Kenzie has pulled a very nice economic advantage in this game. 64 workers to 39
really
at the
surprising.
moment.
Considering the situation it was in, that Nidus play worked out very, very well for Kenzie. Extremely well. Even though it took a few tries to really get there, a slow response from Bischu ended up causing a massive amount of economic damage, and the counterattack from Bischu just wasn't there. He didn't do what he needed to do, and now we've got this big pack of Mutas that is marauding its way across the battlefield. There's another Nidus coming down somewhere.
Yes, that's right. It's actually back here next to the active creep tumor, which is giving it the vision. So we'll go ahead and take a look at this fight for one. Bischu trying to roll his way in. There are a few Roaches on the ground. They are unupgraded at the moment. Guardian Shield certainly providing pretty good use against the range attacks from those Roaches. But the Roaches are actually starting to move this slowly back, and the Phoenixes have gone down as well. The Nidus Worm is complete.
There's the GG, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow!
Surprisingly enough there, I suppose seeing that Nidus coming in, that would have put him in a terrible position there. But a nice play there by Kenzie, really flexible considering the position he was in.